And so today, we're really looking at how to advocate. And to help us really explore the how, it's my pleasure to invite Tahir Babulia. So he is the Youth Advocacy Officer at the Heart and Stroke Foundation of Barbados, and he will later be joined by Alex Johnson, who is the past president of UTAMS. And they are really going to give us a sense of what it means to be an advocate and youth advocacy. Fantastic. So Tahir, turning it over to you.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you so very much, Danielle. And yes, this is a very important topic. And I just want to first and foremost commend everyone, the planning team behind this. This is an excellent initiative, and I'm sure many persons will benefit from it. Unfortunately, Alex is stuck in town right now, so he's not able to join, but he's hoping to join a little later down in the presentation. But yeah, I just really wanted to have a conversation. But before I go into it, it's a little tough. And I know my colleague, comrade Christina is here. It's tough to come after Barbados was defeated last night in the cricket final from Jamaica. So and I know that many persons are here from Jamaica. So it's tough to come and face the Caribbean public this morning. But I still wear my Barbados shirt, but nevertheless, and I know Christina's smiling very, very happily there. But yes, so the topic at hand is advocacy. I want to do it a little different. I didn't prepare a presentation, but I want to have a conversation. I want to have a conversation on what y'all think advocacy is. And let's have a discussion around advocacy, because many persons have a mindset of what advocacy is, but when we get down into the nitty-gritty of it, do we really understand and truly understand what advocacy is? It's a journey. Advocacy is genuinely a journey. So what I'll do at this point in time, let me see if I can share screen. So I want y'all to assist me in building out my presentation. So I'll open the floor now at this point in time and ask y'all, what is advocacy? More so, what is youth advocacy? So I'll open the floor and ask the question, and what is advocacy from your vantage point, from your opinion? So I want to hear from you guys. You can either on your mic, we'd love to hear you on your mic and say, but if you want to put it in the chat, if maybe Danielle or Shanique can monitor the chat for me. So what is advocacy? Do I have to start calling out names? Anything in the chat, Shanique?
Not seeing anything as yet. Oh no. I thought I got something. No, not seeing anything as yet.
Okay, I'll call some people. That's fine. Brittany Marley, where are you from? What is advocacy? What do you think advocacy is? Can you on your mic, Brittany?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. Where are you from?
I'm from Flint, Michigan.
Michigan. Nice. How is it there in Michigan?
It's kind of cold, but it's nice. It's no snow yet.
Okay, that's lovely. You need to come to the Caribbean. So what is advocacy? What is advocacy from your point of view?
It's support or recommendation. I was gonna put that in the chat, but let me erase it. Like public support.
Public support? All right, that's fine. Okay, that's cool. So that's 1 point. Thank you, Brittany. Everybody give Brittany a big round of applause, please. Next up, anything in this chat, Shani? Okay, not seeing anything in the chat. I'm gonna go Barry-Ann Brown. Did I pronounce that correctly? Barry-Ann, where are you from? What is advocacy in your opinion? You're not hearing Barry-Ann. Jordan Taff? Okay, no, Barry-Ann is here. Hi, Barry-Ann, how are you?
I think that my internet is unstable. That's why I wasn't sure. That's probably why it wasn't coming up. But are you asking me what is youth advocacy?
Yeah, what is advocacy in your opinion?
Just addressing or promoting for a cause.
Okay.
That's what I think advocacy is.
Promoting for a cause. That's cool. That's good. Give Brian. Brian, where you from?
From Jamaica.
Okay, cool, cool. Congratulations on winning the cricket last night. Next up.
You
So
have
here
some
we have-
answers in the chat.
Yeah, Rosanna, go right ahead.
Okay, so one here you have from Doriel, taking action to create change.
Brilliant. That's lovely.
And then from Kaj Archer, the promotion, support, and lobbying of particular policies. And then Stephanie, oh yeah, so promotion, support, and lobbying of particular policies. And then this is Stephanie, raising awareness about a particular topic to the general public and to policymakers.
Brilliant. That's cool. We getting hot. We getting hot.
Yeah, then there's Ashley Foster Estwick, using targeted messages. So she's building on the above answers.
That's cool. That's cool.
And one from Kimberly Benjamin again, having a cause that you and others take deliberate steps towards supporting, whether through verbal or oral and written representation or some other means. And the final one in the chat is from Marissa Dow-Rich Prince, championing a cause for vulnerable individuals or groups.
That's absolutely brilliant. Anything else, Rosanna?
That's it so far.
Rosanna, what's your opinion on advocacy?
I mean, everyone basically said it. So basically, you know, it's increasing public awareness and policymaker awareness around a specific issue, and you know what action is needed to drive, you know, a change to mitigate the risks associated with those issues. So basically making change through some sort of strategic action.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you, Rosanna, for assisting me. And yes, everyone is absolutely correct. So I think you guys should give yourselves a big round of applause. Well, unfortunately, I can't clap right now because I have a broken hand. I don't know if you can see me, but I broke my hand playing cricket last week. So I can't clap right now for you guys, but well done. And yes, everything here is essentially what advocacy is. Public support, promoting for a cause, taking action, targeted messages, deliberate steps, all with the intention of effecting change, which Rosanna put so beautifully. So there's so many different layers to advocacy. And as young persons, we have to understand truly what advocacy is. And I believe similar, when we're young, I don't think we fully grasp what the full essence of advocacy is, because we often see the end goal, but we don't often know the steps to get there. And we often think we're going to be operating at a certain level and this is the end goal and then that's it. No, advocacy is a process and a journey throughout life. And we have to understand that advocacy is ever changing, is going to be very, very fluid, and you have to move forward with plans. But Rosanna, just monitor the chat because I see some messages coming through. So I don't want to miss out anything because remember, we're having the conversation here. So if there's anything, you can just stop me at any point in time, yeah?
Just an additional point by Sharika to say youth advocacy is by or on behalf of young people.
Brilliant. Absolutely, yes. So what I'll do is stop sharing for now so I can just monitor the chat as well. Thank you, Rosanna. And yes, absolutely. So as young people, we have to understand that it's a journey throughout life. And advocacy does not just take place when you're on a stage, when you're on the social media, when you're on in the public space. Advocacy is every aspect of our lives. We have to see it as this because as young people, the reality is it's very difficult to balance the social life with our professional life. And once you get that balance, it's very, very key to how we can develop and advocate on issues. Because as advocates, as youth advocates, as young leaders, persons are constantly watching us, watching our every single move. So for instance, we may be advocating on the removal of sugar-sweetened beverages from our schools. People will be watching in public if we're drinking sugar-sweetened beverages. We may be advocating on a cause on behalf of persons to say, well, we want the school nutrition policy. But what we're putting out there in our personal life is that matching back what we're putting out there in our professional life? So we have to be mindful of this when we are moving forward in advocating for a cause. And we have to continue just being mindful of that in every aspect of what we do. Secondly, the second point I have to make here is that as advocates, and especially youth advocates, we have to be careful in the way in which we move around, and in the way in which we operate, in the way in which we go through and get counsel from persons. Because advocating in Jamaica, advocacy in Jamaica is totally different to advocacy in Barbados. Advocacy in Trinidad is totally different from advocacy in Jamaica. Advocacy in Guyana is totally different from how it is in St. Vincent, for example, because advocacy is often linked to culture. Culture is linked to advocacy. So you have to understand the culture of the country that you're operating in. Obviously, there are standards that have been set, but you have to understand as an advocate what works within your country and within your culture. For example, recently we were on the cusp of here in Barbados launching, the government was about to pass the school nutrition policy. Thankfully, it has been launched. It has been passed in government, and it's going to be rolled out into the schools, right? And we had a meeting back in June because we weren't hearing from the government, you know how they are. And they were indicating at the time that, oh, we have to use the youth to go and protest on behalf of us to get the policy passed. Everyone saying we have to get outside of government and outside of parliament to advocate on this issue of the school nutrition policy, ensure it's passed. Is that the right thing to do at that point in time? Persons may be advising from a different vantage point because advocacy is so unique. Advocacy is, as I said, is linked to culture. So at that point in time, they were indicating, okay, we want to utilize the youth. We want to utilize young persons to go and advocate outside and protest outside of the government, the parliament, and say we need to get this passed. But the last communication we would have gotten was that it was essentially on the cusp of being passed. And thereafter, 2 weeks later, it was. So we have to just be mindful of how we go about advocating, because we have timing is very, very key in this process, right? And there are different forms of advocacy. There's digital advocacy, social media advocacy, community advocacy, grassroots advocacy. They're all part of the process. So as I indicated in my beginning, I know it's a very, very short time. And thank you, Janae, for telling me how much time I have left. But there's so many different forms of advocacy, and we all have to be mindful of it. So my last and final message before I open up for any questions is, Alex was to touch on the points of health advocacy in particular, but unfortunately he could not be here. But my last and final message to close is, one, set your goals, outline where you want to be, where you want to go, how you're going to get there. Seek counsel from persons that are reliable, that are authentic, that are genuine in this advocacy fight, because it's not just an overnight journey. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to be a long process. Danielle will tell you, sometimes it would take 1 year for advocacy a campaign to then get it passed. Sometimes it takes 3 to 5 to 7 years. So we just have to continue the process. And as advocates, as youth advocates, ensure that our personal life and our professional life matches back. Because you don't want to be out there posting on social media that we are fully drinking such sugar sweetened beverages, but yet we are we're with children drinking it and what's not. So just be mindful of that. Obviously, if you want to drink it in your personal life, that's up to you. But try just be mindful of what social media, what persons out there will have that mindset. You just say, well, you're drinking it. You're not advocating for it. You have to be the change that you want to see. But you're out there promoting it. You're out there drinking it. You're out there showing it up. Yeah. And finally, it's a process. It is a process and it is a journey. Continue on that journey and always be mindful of the goal at hand and the steps that you have to take. You have to be mindful of the steps that you have to take, create that plan. And yes, we have to practice what we preach. We can't be out there saying one thing and doing the next thing. We can't be out there advocating on a cause, but yet we're showing in our life something absolutely different. Obviously, as I indicated, if you want to do it in your personal life, that's fine, but keep that between you. but it's fine. But just be mindful of when you go in the public space, how it is. So with that, I thank you so very much. I know the time has been limited. And the other aspect, the final aspect of it is enjoy the journey. Enjoy it. If you're not enjoying it, then it's going to be a heartache for you. Enjoy every step of this advocacy journey, because when you reach to the other side, you'll realize that it's benefiting, as Rosanna said, the vulnerable groups, the people that really, really, really need it the most. And once you have people at the forefront of your mind and people development at the forefront of your mind, no matter what advocacy campaign you do, no matter what you have in place, no matter what campaign, program, initiative, project, with people's development at the forefront, it will be successful. And with that, I thank you so very much. I would like to have about 5 questions now. I hope my presentation, some part of my presentation impacted you and has some form of positive impact on you. And I hope that we can continue moving from strength to strength, but feel free. I think we have time for some questions, correct, Danielle and Rosanna? Yeah, so I open the floor now for questions. Ask me anything you want to ask me. Even how I broke my hand. Nice to see Sharika. Sharika was nice to see you, Sharika. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you, Tiger.
Good. Bless up. All right, guys, open up the
Maybe
floor.
I have a question for you. Oh, Christina also has a question for you. Okay, I see in the chat. Okay, lots of questions. I'll keep my question. I was going to ask you, what is one difference that you maybe noticed about being a youth advocate in Barbados versus maybe the way youth advocates are in Jamaica? Have you noticed any difference with us?
Major differences. As I said, a lot of the advocacy campaigns are built towards the culture. So in Jamaica is people ready to protest, people ready to attack, people ready to go and hit the streets. Trinidad is pretty similar to that. Meanwhile, in Barbados, we're very much laid back. In Barbados is who you know culture, friendship, forming relationship. So if me and you, Sharika, say you're the Minister of Health, I mean, you have a relationship, I'll say, Sharika, genuinely, we want the school nutrition policy to pass, and we go from there. In Barbados, oftentimes, if you attack the minister, if you attack someone in that policy-making position, they'll shut you off. You will get nothing moved. Trust me. And this is seen throughout the public service as well. If you go in there with your high hand and say, look, I need my license tomorrow, full stop, just an example, they will shut you off completely. But if you go in there kind-hearted, meanwhile in Jamaica, that may be the culture. I saw that Christina will know inter-campus Guild Council meetings, where you see the different cultures being fused in the region. Trinidadians are one particular way. Persons from Antigua are a particular way. Persons from Jamaica are more attacking, get what you have to get done. Meanwhile, Trinidad is more about process. How can you get that process completed? Meanwhile, they're still very much shady and what's not. But that's just the culture. Meanwhile, in Barbados, we're going to sit back and be like, all right, what needs to be done? Let's get it done. All right. Meanwhile, we're a lot laid back. We wouldn't really protest too much. We wouldn't really hit the streets. Meanwhile, it goes back to the culture. So that's one of the major differences. I hope I answered your question, Sharika.
Yes, thank you. I see a question in the chat. I don't know if Christina or Daniel are going to get it. But Brittany's asking, how long have you been with HCC?
So I'm a member of HSF in Barbados, Heart and Stroke Foundation of Barbados. I started volunteering in 2019, Danielle, 2018, 2019, somewhere around there. And then thereafter, I volunteered for about 3 years. And then this year, they had the position of Youth Advocacy Officer, to which they asked me to come on and be the Youth Advocacy Officer at that time. So been working with them since March, but volunteering for about 3 years. And this is key as well. Volunteering is very, very key in your journey. Oftentimes we come out of university, and I know there are many university students, we think that, all right, we're going to land straight into a job. But that's not true. You think that, okay, the world, you get a job by 25. I saw a meme the other day on Instagram saying, oh, we thought we were going to be married with 2 children by 25 and a job and a house. No, that's not the true life. We have to actually volunteer while you're in school. You have to get experience while you're in school, and then chart your journey. Make your network from when you're in university and then go from there. Advocate from when you're in university and then move forward from there.
I have a question,
Sure.
Tahir, because
speaking?
you spoke, it's Ashley.
Hi, Ashley, how are you?
Barbados. I'm good, I'm good. You spoke about the different cultures and so forth, which is very interesting. But during your presentation, you also spoke about digital advocacy. So I'm wondering how you think Barbadians are these people, the people who are more passive in your opinion, or what's not, how do we use digital advocacy to get messages across and so forth? Or do you see any differences in culture there as well in the digital space?
Yeah, absolutely. In the digital space, there's varying cultures in the way in which we advocate. Social media has taken the world by storm. Lots of campaigns, lots of initiatives have been passed just because of what has been done or what has been said on social media. I believe you would know actually here in Barbados when they had the Lord Nelson last year when the statue was taken down. What was that spark from? A social media outcry. So as you indicate, as you rightfully said, it varies from culture to culture. I know my colleagues from Jamaica can speak to that. I'm going to be real with you, I'm not too often in the digital advocacy space. So I think Shanique can speak more to that. Shanique and Sharika as well, because they do some excellent work in the digital advocacy space, and Danielle as well. I'm not too au fait with that, but we can have a conversation moving forward because I do know time is thing, but but yes, we can have a conversation after about it. But the culture, as I said, culture influences it a lot. So you just have to know how to tone your message and how to operate in that digital advocacy space as well. Because for instance, let me just use an example. In America, they would go and attack the policymakers, target them, do targeted campaigns towards them. But will that work in a Barbadian space? Do we tag our policymakers, our ministers? Are our ministers active on social media? I don't genuinely believe so. A lot of them have persons running their social media for them. So we just have to be mindful and know the culture. So as I said, advocacy is very much linked to culture of the country. I say lots. What Stephanie is asking, what's the most rewarding experience you've experienced as a youth advocate? The most rewarding. Personally, when you set out a goal, when you set out a campaign, you dot your I's, cross your T's, or dot your T's and cross your I's, and you set about it and achieve it, genuinely. And everything just works because you plan. Planning is key. Because we plan and say, well, okay, this is our plan in our campaign, in our advocacy campaign, but we don't plan for when we hit a stumbling block. We don't plan for if a failure occurs. We don't plan for if it gets approved. So when you're planning, you have to say, well, okay, if I go to Danielle at HCC and Danielle tells me no, what am I going to do? Do I absolutely need Danielle to get my plan achieved? Just find a way to get it done. I find we get too caught up in the problem, but we don't think about the solution. So within our campaigns, build out a solution-oriented campaign, and that will be successful. So for me personally, when I was at UE, and thankfully Christina as president approved it then, so a lot of thanks had to go to her. I launched a sport development campaign, and it was then recognized by the Commonwealth. So that was probably for me personally, in a personal capacity, where I launched that sport development campaign across the campuses. We were training students. It was a full campaign on the mindset of sports. And thereafter it was, and I was the youngest at the time. I was only 21 at the time. And when I was recognized by Commonwealth, it was amongst persons that have been established for 10 and 12 years, people in Bangladesh that have ambulances on the road for persons and all type of things. Like, whoa, this just amazing, you know. But you have to plan well, you know, and you have to give thanks to God and have good people around you. Shamar has a good question in the chat as well. Do you feel advocates should be mindful of what they post in their personal life, being that people are watching them constantly? Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. People watch everything on social media. Every single thing, good, the bad, and the ugly. So you have to be so very mindful of what you post in your personal life. And I know many persons would have a professional page and a personal page, but to me personally, and this is my personal opinion as Tahir Balbulia, that you have to be mindful of what you put out in social media because you never know who's watching. I will give a story. About 2 years back, I went to school to teach on healthy lifestyles and what's not, the CAPE class. This is a sixth form class. And this girl came up to me and said, you know that my mommy likes you so much. I was like, I don't even know who you are. I was like, how does your mom, I said that in my head, I didn't tell her that. You know, I was like, how does your mommy know me? She said she watches you on social media. She watches what you post and she likes what you post. She watches you. I was like, okay, so is that what is some of the things? So she started rattling off at the top of her head what her mommy likes. So she was like, can I take a picture with you to take to my mommy? I was like, absolutely sure, absolutely no problem. A week and a half later, her mommy died. 2 days before her mom died, she showed her the picture because after when she went home, and I heard that her mom died. She said, I asked her when I sent the condolence message, I asked her, did your mommy see the picture? She was like, yes. And that was one of her last moments with her mom. As a young person, as a youth leader, as a youth advocate, that still, it brought me to tears because as a youth person, as a person on social media, you never know who you're impacting. All of us have gone through lows in our career, lows in our advocacy. But some of us stop. Some of us say, well, we're giving up. We're not making it anywhere, but we never, ever, ever know who we're impacting. There's so many people out there that we're impacting. I did not know her mom. I never met her mom. Her mom has gone on now, but we impact her. So that's how we have to think. Whatever we put out there, it has a repercussion. You know, Newton's law, what you put out there, for every action, there's a reaction, Rosanna. I'm not a science person, right? Or for every
Yes, so for
reaction,
every
there's an
action, there's an equal or opposite reaction.
Exactly. So what we put out there, people are watching. So going back to the point at hand is that you have to be mindful of what you put out there because everybody's going to be watching and people are going to share. Integrity is key. So as our youth advocates, be very mindful. And I'm not saying live a boring life. I'm not saying don't party, don't go out, don't enjoy yourself, but always have that at the back of your mind that, okay, I'm impacting someone. I have people behind me watching me. I have people guiding me. I'm impacting and influencing people's life in a tremendous way. So if we're mindful of that, we'll be also mindful of what we post because then a young person will see that at 12 and 13 and say, well, okay, Tahir is doing this, so I can do it. But they don't have the firm grounding that we may have. So they may go now and say, well, okay, this life looks good. He's advocating, he's living the life, he's partying, he's showing off. But really and truly, it's not matching back. So you just have to be mindful of that as well. Any other questions? I think someone had their hand up. Jordan, final question, Jordan.
All right, good morning, everyone.
Morning, my bro. Where are you from?
I'm from Jamaica.
Lots of Jamaicans. Y'all hurting my heart this morning after that defeat last night, boy. Where in Jamaica you from, Jordan?
From St. Catherine.
You know
But
Alex?
Alex?
Alex Johnson. He's from St. Catherine. He told me this morning.
Oh,
Okay,
unfortunately.
my bro. What's your question?
Yes, so my question is really about, all right, I'll just ask it and I think you could figure out what it's about. So the other day I went to buy some food and it was like, they had the regular like unhealthy stuff, but I realized that the healthy options, they were very, very expensive. And even when it came to drinks, it was like there weren't many options at all. It was just soda. And so I ordered the fruit juice, but even that was so sweet, I had to put a lot of water in it. So then I'm saying like, it's a part of the culture at this point because first of all, you have a lot of people in Jamaica who will say like, oh, every Friday you just have to buy KFC. That's just our tradition. You have a lot of people who will say they find the healthy drink options nasty, and even some quote unquote healthy drink options in Jamaica, like cranberry water. if you actually check the tag, it's actually worse than even Sprite or Coca-Cola. So then it's a part of the culture, like unhealthy eating, unhealthy drinks. So this is kind of a two-part question. First of all, how would you try and like create a change in that current status quo? And secondly, how would it be possible to like, create sanctions against some of these companies that will deliberately, spike the prices in order to encourage unhealthy eating?
Okay, so Jordan, that's an amazing question, but I think we're a bit behind time, right? So what we'll do, Daniel, and I've made note of the question in my phone, and we will definitely have that answered a little later. But that's an excellent question, and we do have those conversations every day around pricing of healthy foods and what's not. So if you don't mind, that's cool with you, bro. That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, that's cool. So we'll get back to that, and I'll share my number. We can have a conversation as well on WhatsApp. But thank you so very much, and I hope you enjoyed the session. And I definitely look forward to engaging you further a bit later in the proceedings.
Thank you so much to hear. It was such a wonder to listen to you, and it just brought me back to when you and I were on the guild together and all the things we're able to accomplish. So really, thanks so much for your presentation. I'm sure persons learned a lot. Once again, reminding you to just share your takeaways on Twitter using the hashtags